Mardi Gras is just around the corner. Let's make a king cake.
Let's see what's cooking. It's time for Yo-Yo Max 12.
Hello everyone. Start off with 1 cup of milk that you're going to heat up in the microwave or on the stove until it is quite hot. And then add in 1/4 cup of butter and stir it around until the butter is melted. And then what you're going to do is set this aside and just let it cool a little bit before we go on to the next step. In a small bowl, place 2/3 cup of warm water. Add to that a tablespoon of sugar that's been taken out of a 1/2 cup measure of sugar. Stir that around and then sprinkle on 2.25 ounce packages of instant active dry yeast. I gave it a little stir and you're just going to let it sit there. This yeast will soften, it'll start to bubble up a little bit. Then pour that cooled milk butter in a large bowl, start mixing, add in 2 eggs. Then you'll add in that yeast mixture that's all nice and foamy. Keep mixing and then add in the 1/2 cup of white sugar, less that 1 tablespoon that we removed out at the beginning. 1/2 teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg. And then you're going to add in 5 1/2 cups of flour. And keep adding the flour in until you're having a hard time with the beaters. Now, if you don't use an electric mixer, stir in as much flour as you can, and then you're going to dump it out onto the countertop, and you're going to knead it for about 8 to 10 minutes until it's smooth and elastic. But what I did is, since I have a KitchenAid mixer, I changed that paddle to a dough hook, and I just let the dough hook do most of the work until it looked like it was quite smooth. And then I turned it out onto the countertop with a little bit of flour, and I just kneaded it a little bit just to get a feel for it, to see if it was really smooth and elastic. And that's best felt with your hands, at least in my opinion. And it was. So I formed that into a ball. I placed it into a mixing bowl that had been well greased, covered with plastic wrap, and put it in a warm place for it to rise until doubled. That'll take 1.5 hours, 2 hours, depending on how warm the spot you put it in. Now let's make the filling. We have 1 cup of packed brown sugar, 1/2 cup of raisins, 2/3 cup of chopped pecans, tablespoon of ground cinnamon, 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, and you stir that around until combined, and then add 1/2 cup of melted butter, and then stir it around until it's well moistened. And it's going to be a little on the crumbly side, but that's okay. You're going to take this and set it aside. Now the dough ball now has risen to twice its volume, actually a little bit more than twice, I think. Dump that out into the countertop, and you're going to cut the dough ball in half because this makes 2 king cakes. Take one of the dough halves and you're going to spread it out into about a 12 by 16 rectangle, roughly. Is actually about the size of the silicone mat as it ended up. Half of the filling goes on top of that piece of dough. Spread the filling out right up to the edges. Then you're going to take the long edge of the dough and you're going to roll it up, kind of like a jelly roll style. Roll it up and then place it so that the seam is down on your countertop. Bring the 2 ends together to make a ring, and then take some time to seal those edges quite well. Then go around, and using a sharp pair of scissors or a knife, you can just cut some deep V shapes into the size of the cake. Now you're going to let it rise again until it's doubled in size. It'll take less time this time. It'll take about 45 minutes or so. You're ready to bake it at 375 for about 30 minutes until golden brown. Here is one of the cakes. I think this one turned out very well, although the hole in the middle kind of disappeared as it was rising. The other one, not so pretty, where the 2 ends of the roll were kind of pressed together. I didn't seal it very well, and as you can see, it made kind of a strange shape. Regardless, as soon as these get cool enough to handle and while they're still warm, you're going to do something that's traditional. You're going to press a little plastic baby Jesus in there. But I didn't have one, and you had to buy them by like the dozen or by hundreds on Amazon. So I went through Max's old Kinder Egg toys and found this little alligator. So I pressed the little alligator into the bottom of the king cake, hid it in there, and traditionally whoever finds the little plastic baby actually has good luck for the rest of the year and usually has to make or buy the king cake for the next Mardi Gras. Now this is best if it's glazed. That's a little bit of powdered sugar with some water or milk And you're just going to mix enough water or milk in there until it gets to a glazing consistency, and then you're going to cover your cake with the glaze. The amount of glaze you use is up to you. I think it needs quite a bit of glaze because it's not super sweet. And then traditionally, you decorate your king cake with yellow, green, and purple sugar. That's traditional colors for Mardi Gras. And then you serve it and cut it up. This is delicious. It's kind of like a coffee cake, cinnamon roll kind of a confection. Very good. My family loved it. If you love this kind of dessert that uses a yeast dough with a filling like a cinnamon roll, I have many on my channel that you are going to enjoy. Check them out on this playlist. Thank you for watching.